Hey guys, how are you? Kevin Goatee, gutting the sacred cow. I got a haircut. Yeah? What do you think? No? Okay. I like it. Not bad. We've done something we've never done for this episode ever before. We've brought back a fan favorite guest. That's right, Bill Schulz, all the way back from episode 3 when he did Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, is now back as he does Independence Day. But before we get to it, I fucked up. I forgot to put in 5 fun facts for this. So we don't have no 5 fun facts for this episode. I'm sorry. I know it's a lot of my fans and friends. My buddy Nick, that's his favorite section. I know, mine too, buddy. Sorry. And 2, next up, make sure you please write a 5-star rating and a 2-sentence review for us wherever you listen to podcasts. That would be a big help. And of course, guttingthesacredcow.com. Check it out. Why? Because now Kevin and I have new content coming out on the blog every day for the next week. So we've got plenty of lists of 10, as we call it, the hashtag list of 10. That's out. Give that a look. You'll let you know if you like it, great. If you disagree with it, cool. Go on social media and tell us why we're wrong. At GTSC Podcast on Twitter, Gutting the Sacred Cow Podcast on Instagram, and a good old Gutting the Sacred Cow on Facebook. But that's it. Listen, kick back and listen to those sweet, sweet dulcet tones of Bill Schulz as he goes after Independence Day.
Gather round, here's what I know. It's just that this cow has got to go. I know some people kinda like it, yeah, it's trending right now. Yeah, that doesn't matter, 'cause we're gutting the sacred cow.
Hey guys, here we are, Gutting the Sacred Cow. Kevin Israel. What's going on? We are back. No,
Still in quarantine.
Yeah, no bricks or our houses set afire yet. We have not been looted, so that's good to know.
I want to riot because the JL Covan episode did not nearly get the love that it deserved. And I think if there's any reason to throw something through a window, that's it.
I don't think I've ever seen it sober.
There you go. What did I say? Everyone who loves this movie was high in fucking LSD.
It was the first time I ever
By
saw
the way,
it, and it
ding,
officially.
ding, ding, ding.
It was the first time I saw that movie, and it officially became the worst movie I've ever seen.
Pow.
Yeah.
Enough of this horse shit. Everyone, we have our first returning guest to the show, Bill Schulz from the morning show. Compound Media. You see me on there every month with Bill and Joanne. Don't forget Joanne Nosachinski did Grease, and Bill's here to make sure that he surpasses her downloads for that episode.
Well,
Joanne,
Bill had one of the first sterling episodes with Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and so now he's decided to double down on the blockbuster and see if he can go 2-0.
And he chose. Well, he didn't go 2-0 because he didn't gut the Sacred Cow the first time.
But you know what? In fairness,
we changed the rules though.
We were applying a different standard at that point. I think had we been applying the standard as we say it now, he would have probably got the
That's
count.
a fair point. That's fair. But Bill Schulz has come on this podcast to take down Independence Day, the choice film of such, and it's in the current strife we're in. What an apropos choice.
You know, it's funny that you say that because I watched it again last night, and the scene where his father comes out with the gun and he's like, "There are animals out there," and I was like, "Holy shit!"
I thought of that too.
That's very fucking scary.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that hit home in a bad way.
Yeah.
Independence Day, Kevin Israel. It's time to play the ratings game. Independence Day on the IMDb 1 through 10. What did Independence Day score?
You know, I have a feeling that this wasn't the reviewer's darling, so I'm going to say it was a 6.
You're wrong by 1 full point, 7 flat.
Wow, I'm surprised. I'm shocked it was a 7.
Rotten Tomatoes score. Critics, give it to me.
I'm gonna stick with my gut and go with a 60%.
I'm gonna say 70.
Well, I'll tell you what, both of you split the difference, and you've got 65%, which is the critics' number. All right. Now, for the audience number, let's hear it.
I think it's got to be an 86.
86. Bill?
It's the Kardashian of movies. It's popular, but there's no rhyme or reason to it. I'm going to say 80.
75.
Wow.
Now let's talk some numbers. 1996, this film came out. $75 million budget at the time, bringing in a haul of $817.4 million in 1996, which in 2020 dollars would be a $125.5 million budget, $1.368 billion.
Wow. That's an ROI you can take to the bank.
That's an Avengers fucking haul right there, as we say, Kevin Israel.
This was one of the first summer blockbusters.
No.
That would be Jaws.
There you go.
I'm talking movies that brought in just massive money.
Indiana Raiders, Star Wars, Empire, all those, dude. You're missing a whole sweet spot era of big blockbusters, my friend. Quotes. Welcome to Earth, as Will Smith says. That's what I call a close encounter. God. Could have been home barbecuing. I'm going to whoop E.T.'s ass. You just did not shoot that green shit at me. And now, Kevin Israel, I left you all of the Jewish quotes that I thought you would appreciate.
You'd all be dead if it wasn't for my David. What was it that you had it back in the 50s in that Roswell, New Mexico, Area 51. You knew then. You did nothing.
By the way, I'd say you guys have already proven my point.
I'd say I quote that scene. I gotta quote that at least once a month.
You sound like Eddie Murphy. You sound like Eddie Murphy is the Jewish guy in Coming to America. That
mission accomplished. Excellent. And also, listen. I get it that Bill is a communist and he doesn't love our country, but the speech at the end of this movie by the president is one of the greatest movie presidential. Oh, go fuck yourself, Bill. Honestly, just so you know, if you're not, because you can't see, Bill just put on a Russian shirt, and he's wearing the sickle and hammer hat. He's very communist.
I'm waiting for him to put on the Iron Sheiks, like that hat they wear. Go, America, Hak Tui. I read number
that one. We Will Not Go Silently Into the Night is by far one of the greatest movie presidential speeches.
Yeah, quite the original quote too.
Based on, hold on. Your time is right on the corner. Bill Schulz, any quotes from your end that you wish to share?
Well, I would say that let's go back to one of the ones that they were marketing, Welcome to Earth. I think Welcome to Earth would have resonated more and may have been considered a classic if they just die-harded it, but they couldn't do it with a stupid rating. If he said, Welcome to Earth, motherfucker, I think it would be more of a classic.
You know what?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. Simple.
They couldn't do it.
But Welcome to Earth, give me a break. All the dialogue is written by someone that had English as a second language and was a gay German, which is exactly what it was written by. Roland Emmerich is a gay German. English is a second language. You can see it throughout the movie. It is jaw-dropping how infantile the dialogue is from beginning to end.
All right.
It's funny that you say that about the quote, because the quote where Feinstein says, I got to call my mother. I got to call my lawyer. I could have sworn, because I even looked at my wife and said it. I could have sworn he said, fuck my lawyer. He said, forget my lawyer. And I can't remember what that phenomenon is called where you remember something that actually never happened. It's the Mandela effect, I think. I think that's called the Mandela effect.
I didn't know the name, but I love it.
Yeah, I think it's because everybody believes that Nelson Mandela died in the 90s, and he didn't.
He got out of jail. It was a whole big fucking thing. How did
go look up articles on the Mandela effect. Everybody thinks he died. Anyhow, I 100% swore that he said fuck. And my wife was like, this is PG. He couldn't have said fuck.
PG-13.
PG-13, right.
You can get,
which really is most people's PG now.
You're right. The Mandela effect refers to when a large number of people share a false memory originally attributed to the existence of multiple universes.
Here's an example, real quick. The Monopoly Man.
Yes.
His monocle. Which eye is his monocle on?
It's not. It's hanging down.
Bill?
He doesn't have a monocle.
He does not have a monocle. Correct. Everybody thinks the Monopoly Man has a monocle.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
Damn it.
And yet Mr. Peanut does. And last I checked, peanuts do not need monocles. And they don't have eyes.
Bill Schulz, any quotes from your end, or is that all? Before I can see you again, like a coked out thoroughbred, waiting to get out and champ at the bit. Champ at the bit. It's not chomp at the bit, people. It's champ at the bit. Do your homework.
Is it?
It is champ at the bit. See, now I just taught you something. How cool is that?
Wow.
Bill Schulz. It looks like I can't contain you anymore. So Kevin Israel, it is now time for Bill Schulz to gut
the
sacred cow.
Well, here's the thing. When I last did this, I did Last Crusade. And I like Last Crusade. It's not without its flaws. And it was a challenge to find those flaws, but they were few and far between. I have kind of screwed myself because I don't know. I'm nervous about opening my phone up and showing you guys my desk because all I have is War and Peace of notes on how awful this movie was. And it's too much. It's overwhelming. I would go back to the fact that the director, Roland Emmerich, is indeed, as I just mentioned, a very privileged gay German born not only 10 years after World War II. And there are so many things going on in this movie that make you now think like, oh, of course it was a gay German born 10 years after World War II. And I will go back to the better Kevin Israel. I will go back to his faith. One of the more alarming things in this movie that also just doesn't, it's not funny, and there's no reason this character needs to exist in this plot. Too many characters to begin with, is Judd Hirsch. Now, Judd Hirsch is, and you know, we tweeted this last night, Judd Hirsch is essentially a cinematic hate crime for how stereotypical and awful his character is. With his little yarmulke, reciting the Quran.
That is not, that, we just found our first audio video file for the.
Oh my God.
I screwed myself.
Muslim extremist.
Hey, did you see the deleted scenes where Judd Hirsch threw rocks on the strip of the Gaza, at the tanks of the Gaza Strip?
But it is
delicious.
Like it is. He could not be more of a cartoonish, stereotypical Jewish character. And I know in Roland Emmerich's fucking hacky mind, he thought that he was doing himself and his entire country of Germany a service by making the Jewish faith such a prominent part of the plot, when in the end, he screwed himself and screwed the plot by just not even having the character, but having the character be that overtly Jewish where he just looks like a cartoon character in some Nazi propaganda film.
The only thing missing was him being a landlord and evicting black people out of his building.
Kind of, yes. And then, like, he's not just a stereotype of an old Jewish person that had no reason to be in the movie. You could have the young Jewish person that is Goldblum, who, oh, by the way, Goldblum is kind of the poor man's Harrison Ford. As we know, Harrison Ford is half Jewish. And Harrison Ford has recently been revisiting a lot of his older iconic characters. You got your Han Solo, you got your Indiana Jones. I forget his character's name in Blade Runner, but he's been doing that recently, as has Jeff Goldblum. He did it with Jurassic Park, and he did it with stupid Independence Day. And quit while you're ahead, because Goldblum's character is the closest thing to something that you can watch. I know Will Smith got a lot of press for the fact that this is his first starring role right after Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
How dare you forget a 1995 gem called Bad Boys?
Bad Boys, Jesus Christ.
That was, I thought Bad Boys was right after. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought Bad
You're
Boys
wrong.
was right after.
No, 1995.
No.
I saw this in high school, the theater with my twice. One second time with my uncle, graduated.
You saw it in high school?
Bad Boys was out in 95 when I graduated. Yep.
So I am a tiny bit older than you.
I started a year late, by the way.
Okay, 'cause I saw it my freshman year of college.
Yeah. Oh, but
That surprises none of us.
Fun fact, Roland Emmerich, as you said, was indeed born 10 years after World War II. Also shares a birthday with a very fantastic, dashing, and charismatic Kevin Goatee. We have the same birthdays.
This explains a lot.
Yeah, I know. I was like, do I share this fun fact? Yes.
Another person trying to make up for his Nazism.
Shame on you. Shame
Yeah,
on you.
like Kevin looks like the Aryan youth that Roland dreams about all the time.
Compliments?
For the record, Judd Hirsch is one of my favorite characters in this entire movie. And while he might
Judd is an ordinary people, but then he somehow forgot to act.
he reminds me of almost everybody at my Passover Seder growing up. They all sounded like that. They all talked like that with the same inflections and the same mannerisms. They all treated you the same way, kind of lovingly condescending. It was that character. The minute he came on screen, I was like, "Oh, I feel like I'm at home right now. This is comfortable."
So what you're saying is all the Seders that you grew up with were ham-fisted, hacky, barely watchable sci-fi films.
Yeah, they're Jews, man. That's how it is.
The only thing missing was a spinning bow tie and a seltzer water.
The Jewish culture doesn't ease you into it. It's not a quiet, subtle people.
Fair enough.
No.
Why do you think everybody hates us so much? Because we come in place and everybody's just like, shut these fucking people up.
I, for one, love the unbelievable bass to your voice. I find it very, like, if anything, it's lulling me to sleep.
Like this film did for you?
Sorry?
Like this film did for you?
Well, that's the thing. Like, Roland Emmerich is very good at, you're not going to be lulled to sleep if you watch Independence Day. You're not going to be lulled to sleep if you even watch the crap that was Godzilla, very much close to right after this was made. But it doesn't take away from the fact that they're just awful. And like, as we were discussing at the beginning of the show, and now I question all of Mr. Israel's bona fides for the fact that he doesn't realize that Jaws was the first blockbuster. Mm. But you can have a blockbuster where it can actually be character-driven, as Jaws was, and it can be three characters. Now, for starters, bigger problems with Independence Day is how many characters do we got? Kind of main characters, 20? And you can't even follow their fucking trajectory, their plot line, what's motivating them. You don't even care whether or not they die. And none of them have good deaths, by the way. He decided to do it.
Wait 1 second, sir.
Give it to me.
Wait,
this is his
None
section?
of them have a good death? I'm back! That was one of the greatest sacrificial deaths in my movie memory. He flies his jet into the main weapon of the ship.
That was Dennis Quaid playing Dennis Quaid.
Who cares?
There was no action.
Randy Quaid. Let's be.
I don't care if it was Randy Quaid playing Fred Flintstone.
Dennis Quaid was too busy making Jaws 3D. That's what he was doing.
Underrated. The 3D really brought out the victims dying. But Randy Quaid was I know in Roland Emmerich's English as a second language brain, he thought that Randy Quaid was going to be the comic relief. But it was just sad and pathetic, especially knowing that what we know know about Randy Quaid, which was that he's been mentally ill for a long time. Randy Quaid was playing Randy Quaid. And it was one of the many characters that wasn't that funny, didn't bring a whole lot to the table, and was not needed. Really, what you could have done was get rid of all of the women that were basically all just wives, and just have the movie be Pullman, Goldblum, and Will Smith. Focus on that. Give us a lot more alien attacks. Give us a lot more legit fears. Like this thing was like Starship Troopers without any irony and Alien without any fear. It was just a bastardization of just crap of movies that were great. And the result was a hybrid butt baby of badness. Like there was
Love the alliteration. Love the alliteration. Oh, that's
Thank you.
That was his AOL screen name. Bad butt baby.
Wait, I still have AOL screen names. Is that not a thing anymore?
Nope.
But yeah, and like the other thing is, look, unlike what Kevin said, I'm actually not a communist, and I love chest thumping, patriotic American films if they're done well. This thing was so trying to shove it down our throat, in particular about the fact that July 4th is now the world's day rather than just America's day. And then coupled with the fact that like one of the like SAS British guys, when they finally figured out that America in and of itself figured it all out, and his response is, "Oh, well, it's that bloody time. We're just sitting here on our asses, not doing anything. But thank you, America, for doing everything." And again, I got no problem with America doing everything in any movie if it's done right. But this was just shoved right up our gaping butthole, and it was gaping after watching this, that it was clearly made by a person that wasn't an American but just loves our nationalism. And you know what? Nationalism and Germans are always a scary thing, as is this movie. The amount of people that they cast for this movie is, again, ridiculous. We had disaster movies in the 90s because we had no actual enemies. And so we needed enemies on film. So we had a bunch of volcano movies. You had a bunch of asteroid movies. And thanks to Roland Emmerich, I'll give him credit on this, he restarted the whole aliens attacking us thing. But the problem is, aliens attacking is enough. That is all you need. But, idiot that he is, he decided to just also cast it with like the cast of Dynasty times 20. And all of these people had backstories that they never got into because I think they thought their roles were going to be bigger. One of them was Robert Loggia.
Loggia, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, perennial of the 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, what have you. And so he is a general in the movie. And he's a good example of the movie wanting to have its red state and blue state cake and eat it too. The president's very liberal, but it's also very pro-military. It's, Jeff Goldblum's an environmentalist. They love Silicon Valley rather than nukes. The nukes don't work, but we can get them with a computer virus. Fuck you. Pick a team and go with that. But Robert Loggia said that he based his character on General Patton, which I thought was hilarious because you could barely see his character in the whole thing. He's got a couple okay lines, but he based it on General Patton, real guy in World War II. But the difference being that Patton was a great movie, and he's basing this great character with this bag of diarrhea that barely even allowed his character to breathe because his character, like most, were not needed. It's an alien attack movie, focus on the aliens attacking, have 4 characters, tops. The rest is a waste of screen time, particularly when you've got an FX budget like they had.
Wow. Strong words. Anything? Any other bullet points you want to hit before we get to the other segments? Much time as you want.
Okay. Well, President Whitmore was a terrible president. He did not evacuate the White House until barely in time. He did not evacuate any of the cities, letting a lot of people die. And by a lot, I mean, let's face it, 100 million. And yet still a hero because he finally flies at the end, which also goes to the point of how many goddamn movies there were where the president was either the hero or one of the close to the protagonist in the 90s. Like, we were a lot more idealistic back then, and it was all slop. They try to bring science into this movie, and there's no science. They bring aliens to the movie that have this countdown that Jeff Goldblum seems to have figured out. Now, these aliens that have a countdown that are somehow...
I know why we have satellite disruption.
Huh?
I know why we have satellite disruption.
Oh, for my argument? Makes sense.
No, that's his line when you realize.
Oh, gotcha. See, I should have remembered that. But so we've got this countdown that Jeff Goldblum figures out. Now, these are aliens that are able to get a victim, one of us, the scientist with the crazy long hair, and kill him, and then put their fingers on his throat, and then through ESPA translate to the rest of us to tell us that they just want to kill us.
He didn't kill him.
Great. So why do you need a countdown? You got all you got to do is ESP tell all of them when is the time to really just destroy all of our monuments. Why give them us this big thing that we can figure out and then somehow be prepared for the fact that you're about to attack us? Don't bring science into this when this isn't a science movie. It's a popcorn movie. Don't try to sound smart when it's not. Don't bring all these stupid things in when there are so many logical loopholes in your dumb science that it just takes you out of the movie.
Wow. This is like watching a fucking...
You guys are upset with me.
Fraser Mahat. No. I'm sitting here eating my popcorn. Kevin Israel, again, he's sitting back there like Jean-Claude Van Damme in Bloodsport, ready to launch a crescent kick at your face. And I can't wait for you to beat Shang Li and fight back.
All right, give it to me.
All right. Well, hold on. Before we get to that, let's get to our critics' 5-star reviews.
Oh, my God.
Music.
Whoever did that doesn't know how to count to 5.
Independence Day isn't the perfect
5-star
film, but it's a
reviews.
film that is still fun to take in on a hot summer night.
5-star reviews by critics.
Never professes to be anything more than escapist entertainment with enough gee-whiz pyrotechnics to enthrall audiences. One of the best summer blockbusters ever made. I know. I laughed at that one too. But what if that's just masking everything that we're afraid to admit? What if we were manipulated into liking this movie and we've been blind to it all this time? I like those. Okay.
I like that.
Critics, 1-star reviews. It's an utter slog, and there's nothing worse to say about a movie whose entire solitary purpose in life is to provide mindless, violent escapism. Yeah. Go say that again, Bill?
I'm sorry, I like mindless violence escapism. Yeah. They just didn't do it well.
Exactly. A loathsome, soulless husk of a garbage movie. A bad movie then, and it's a bad movie now. 1/4 of a very decent, albeit cliche, alien invasion film, and 3/4 of an unwatchable adventure film. Maybe the movie maker's mission was to boldly go where everyone in Hollywood has gone before. The bank. Burn. Last one.
Yeah.
Forget government conspiracies about aliens. What about the entertainment media's conspiracy to persuade America that this movie doesn't suck? Amazon. 5-star reviews. I remember going to see this at the movies when it debuted, yes, on the 4th of July, 1996. One of the great sci-fi movies of our time, Independence Day is a roller coaster ride of a movie. Action, adventure, humor, romance. You name it, this movie's got it. Anyone who thinks this movie stinks does not deserve the honor of being a movie fan. If you can stomach whiny performances from Bill Pullman and Jeff Goldblum, think of them as the aliens, then the rest of the movie is entertaining. I don't know if the parts were written that way or if that was the extent of their acting range. I don't know. Never mind the stereotypical characters. Never mind the non-existent logic. Never mind that the dialogue is inane and bordering on idiotic. This is a great action film, and there's no point in denying it. Yes, that stupid speech by Bill Pullman is enough to gag a maggot, but what the hey?
Go fuck yourself.
They saved the world. Yeah. They saved the world. They have cool aliens. Will Smith when he was hot, and it's light years above the stupid sequel that resurrects a dead Dr. Okun.
Were the aliens cool? Let me ask, I'm going to, even though I am the focus of this, I'm going to ask a question to my beloved hosts. Were the aliens good?
No, they were middle of the road at best.
Thank you.
Amazon 1-star reviews.
Amazon 1-star reviews.
Great movie.
Amazon
Saw it with my brother
Amazon
back in the day, and we loved it. I have a complaint. I ordered it for my daughter, who as of now only speaks Spanish because it said it has Spanish as an alternate language, but it doesn't have Spanish. Signed, someone else who doesn't know how to use the SAP button. I can't believe how many people give this movie more than 1 star. It's horrible, cheesy, and not worth a cent. Howard the Duck deserves more stars than this dumb movie. In fact, I would rather watch someone set fire and loot my business and watch Howard the Duck again. I don't know how you guys feel. Howard the Duck is fucking.
I haven't seen that movie in 20 years.
They're both crappy alien movies.
Right.
So I think Howard the Duck is basically Independence Day, just 10 years earlier.
And with Leah Thompson, more revealing outfits. Meow.
Yeah.
There was a naked female duck in Howard the Duck, so that was kind of cool.
That was
Instantly-
full-on tit shot, yeah.
Are you one of these guys who looks up Marge Simpson porno on Pornhub or Naked Lois
No.
Griffin, Kevin?
No, I just remember all the tits I saw when I was young.
You and Mr. Skin. Instantly decoding the code without having any prior knowledge, developing a computer virus of all of a sudden Commander-in-Chief flying a fighter jet on his own, etc., etc. It was like a Pokemon movie, good for kids under the 4th grade. Those are our reviews.
The president flying the jet was more believable than Quaid flying the jet. The president said he was a jet pilot in the Desert Storm.
Randy Quaid said he flew
Randy Quaid
Nam.
flew in like Korea or something.
No, Nam. And he also flies crop duster. I disagree. I think Randy Quaid is a more believable pilot than President. Whatever.
Why would Randy Quaid get anally raped by the aliens so that he can learn more about us? And then, even though they're going to destroy our entire planet, they somehow let Randy Quaid live.
As
When
a
he should have
messenger.
died, it's a lot of stuff like that. It's a lot of stuff like that.
That was going with the old trope.
The amazing movie that it is.
But that was the old trope that people said that they were abducted and that they had experiments performed on them and then they were returned. There were books written about people claiming to have that experience. So this was going with that.
It kind of makes it seem like Randy Quaid wasn't hallucinating, that he was indeed actually kidnapped by the aliens and, of course, anally raped.
For those of you not on YouTube right now, in which you can see us on YouTube, Kevin Israel is taking more notes than he did during Philosophy 101. And so with that, why don't we go to the guy who's taking a personal offense like a white glove?
I love it.
Kevin Israel has had a white glove slapped across his face and spit upon and said, I challenge you to a duel. Well, sir, it is now time to take 10 paces, turn, and fire when ready.
Well, first of all, thank you for giving me my moment in the sun. Let me start off by saying Mr. Schulz is absolutely right. This is a bad movie. It's bad. It's a bad movie. But here's the thing. I love it. I love every scene, every line, every moment of this movie. I've seen this movie has to be 100 times. It has to be, at least in pieces. I saw this movie. This is one of the only movies, I think maybe 5 movies in my history have I seen twice in the theater. I saw it back-to-back nights, the 3rd and the 4th. With 2 different girls, and it was, and both times the girl I saw it the second time wanted to make out, and I said, I pushed her away because I was like, no, I'm watching this fucking movie, and she didn't realize I saw it less than 24 hours ago.
You cock-blocked yourself.
I didn't
listen to Bill Pullman's speech.
This goes right back to 40-Year-Old Virgin. You know how I know you're gay?
Don't worry, I made up for it in the end. But
oh, anal sex? Oh.
But this movie, and this was one of the first movies to utilize Super Bowl marketing in advance.
In my notes,
it had a huge marketing campaign, and one of the reasons I really love this movie is this was one of the last movies that had an advertising campaign all the way through, where you had basically no idea what the movie was about. You knew the White House gets blown up. You know that I don't even think you knew definitely that it was an alien attack. I don't know. I don't think they revealed. They did. I don't think you knew Will Smith was in it. They really did a cloak and dagger job on the marketing, and literally the whole success of this movie banked off of that Super Bowl spot where they blew up the White House, which till today is one of the most iconic destructions of a building in any movie. And it will, and even watching it last night, and having seen Avengers and all the movies that have come after it, destroying cities, Man of Steel who destroyed an entire city, it still was impressive to watch those giant ships fly over the cities, and because the movie did do a good job in putting in your mind, what would this be like? What would this moment be like? How would people react? The people partying at the top of the skyscraper when that thing opens, especially today, especially now, seeing how people are responding in an emotional time. I was like, that 100% would happen. There would be people at the top being like, beam me up. And I'd be like, they're shooting a laser at you. How are you this stupid? For Jeff Gold, I think this was one of my favorite Jeff Goldblums. Jeff Goldblum is Jeff Goldblum. But this was the Jeff Goldblumiest.
He's a national treasure.
What's that?
He's a national treasure.
Goldblum
makes everything better. I
agree. I adore him. Will Smith was picturesque perfect in this as the. Kev, you make all the faces you want. He was fantastic. He punched out a cyber suited alien with his fist, and then smoked a cigar. Magnificent. How many people have said since then, now that's what I call a close encounter. This movie is so quotable. And that is, for me, that is one of the hallmarks of a great movie. How many lines in it do I typically go back to? This is probably in the top 5. Armageddon is my number 1 most quoted movie.
If a Michael Bay movie is on, I'm going to watch it.
What'd you say?
I said if a Michael Bay movie is on, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Transformers The Last Night, including that one?
Huh?
Transformers The Last Night?
No, actually, I retract my statement.
Thank you.
If a Michael Bay movie is on that's not Transformers, I will watch it.
Not any Transformers, but the first Transformers.
The first one's amazing. The sequels
are trash. Is a great movie.
Oh, no. The first Transformers is fucking great. The sequels are straight up trash.
But look, all of that said, to Bill's point, the Randy Quaid character, especially now, knowing what we do, forget Randy Quaid, he's a nutcase, but just knowing what we do about PTSD, substance abuse, the scene where they first introduced him and he gets out of the plane and he's drunk and then he drinks from, I was like, you probably wouldn't do that today. And if you did do it today, it wouldn't have been a punchline. Him drinking from the bottle was a punchline that landed awkwardly today. But this was 1996. It was 30 years ago.
Sure.
There was originally supposed. So there obviously the sequel was an unmitigated disaster.
I have not seen that.
Don't ever see it.
I turned it off after 30 minutes and said,
and it just gets worse. Every 10 minutes, it gets incrementally worse.
Oh, good.
Oh my God, it's so bad. But you find out, number one, that the scientist, who was actually Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation, didn't die. He was just strangled, and then he survived and had some weird relationship with the aliens were always in his head or something like that.
Kev, I love that you mentioned that because I did not know until I was doing my deep dive this weekend that was Data from Star Trek.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
I was a huge Next Generation fan, and when he came out, because he didn't do anything after Next Generation. And when they walk into Area 51 and he walks out, I was like, that's Data. Holy
No
shit.
idea. Yeah.
I missed that too.
There was this was, and I don't think intentionally, but first of all, I am a pure product of the 90s. I love almost everything that came out of the 90s, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this was such a product of the 90s. And it was almost like a bridging moment between action movies of the 80s into what we ended up getting today, the really, really high quality special effects mixed with actually good plots and good stories. Look, the plot of this absolutely is a disaster. The villains in it, the aliens, are completely two, if not one-dimensional. You know nothing about them. You don't know anything about their motivation. You don't have any real reason to fear them. Like you said, Bill, they're bland-looking. They wear these robotic exoskeleton suits that clearly don't do anything because they couldn't stop a Will Smith punch for as great as Will Smith does punch. So I agree. There were definitely too many characters, and they should have done a little more to give you the motivation behind the aliens and why. Just the idea that an entire race built a planet-sized spaceship, got on and said, you know what? Let's just start going around and fucking up other planets. Yes. It seems a little ridiculous. But all of that said, and as right as you are, Phil Schulz, I love this fucking movie. And I will love it. And I
cannot
hope someday...
argue with anything you just said, and I'll tell you why. I'm a lot older than you, okay? So everything that you just said about the 90s, I feel that way about the 80s. So there are a lot of movies in the 80s that I nostalgically love, but I am not that nostalgic where I can't realize that they're just garbage. Like, I love them because I grew up on them, and I totally agree with exactly what you said.
To me, this was almost the Texas. What was that? Kentucky Fried Movie of big budget science fiction movies. Like, this just took a bunch of elements. They're like, let's take the noble president. We'll do some of that, and then let's take the zany Jewish father. We'll take some of that, and let's take the hard-talking, edgy black guy and make him a hero. Let's take some of that, and then we'll take some aliens. We'll throw that in too. And it just made this fucking just mishmash of a movie that I fucking love.
But again, I don't blame you because you were of the age where you had no choice. And
it wasn't a choice, it was a lack of
true.
options.
We had plenty of
I'll
choices.
give you a good example. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said we had plenty of fucking choices. I think we have that sweet spot of the 80s and 90s. Like, yeah, we were a little young in the 80s, but I would say mid 80s to late, we had that sweet spot. There are plenty of better films that are mid to late 80s than this, as I will then talk about in my notes. But please go ahead.
No, that's what it comes down to. I get that this.
Well, I will direct this to both Kevins. Like, a good example would be Landau. I don't know if you guys talked about it, but when he was, I can't wait to listen to it. When he was
so great,
Philadelphia,
so great.
He had just done a thing with Cumia on Over the Top. Now,
you said that. Yeah, you did say that.
I loved Over the Top.
Oh, me too.
I think I was like 9, 10, and that was my birthday party for my big 1-0. And I just remember thinking that was the best thing ever. And even if I were to watch it now, and let's face it, it's a Sylvester Stallone movie about goddamn arm wrestling, I'm sure I would probably still like it. Now, am I aware in my mind of minds is that it's absolute awfulness? Of course. But it is that sweet spot, as you said, of at a certain time in your life where you're just going to like it. It's going to hit you, and that is it. There's no argument.
So wait, you said you turned 10. That came out in 1987. So that means we're older than you. But did I catch that right?
Well, all right. So figure 87. When it came out, I was almost 13. So I guess I was 12.
All right, you said 10. That's the big 1-0. I said, wait a minute.
I'm not good at math.
You're not that much older than us, by the way.
No, I know that. Yeah, we're 43. So it's. You know.
Well, you guys use moisturizer because I look really old.
I think it's more booze. No, that's booze. More booze than both of us.
Well, yeah, but the other thing too is like the thing that always kind of bothered me about Independence Day is that it was such a great idea for its time.
Sure.
We hadn't seen a great alien attack movie really since the 50s. And it was such a perfect time for it. And I just remember being disappointed by what a great concept it was and how it just left me dry on every point that I wanted it to, for lack of a better phrase, satisfy me. I know now I'm starting making it sound like an alien porn, but the premise was perfect. The timing was perfect. And it's just they threw so much against the wall that they should have just edited it out, and they just kept it all in.
And you know what? I think I also am just embraced, because there are some really good moments in the movie that I really enjoyed. When they first discover the mothership, and they say, it's a quarter the size. That whole moment they have, that they then had in Armageddon, and then they had in Deep Impact, where they're like, "There's this massive thing. How big is it? I'm about to compare it to something else, so you understand how big it is." And he goes, well, it's coming. It's definitely not a meteor. And they're like, "How do you know?" And he goes, "It's slowing down." Like, just that moment where he says it's slowing down, and they're like,
"That's cool." I like that.
I was like, you get it, like, because we've never had that moment in history, and you're watching, and I thought that was just a great moment in the movie.
And by the way, you are so right to talk about the marketing campaign, and this is a Roland Emmerich thing. I don't know if you guys remember this, and it ended up being kind of tanking in the box office, but the late 90s Godzilla.
Terrible.
Terrible.
You remember the advertising campaign for that?
Oh, yeah.
It would be a tail on the side of a New York bus, and it would say, a toe. His toe is bigger than this bus.
Yeah.
Right.
His head is bigger than this building. And then at one point in the trailer, just as like a fuck you to Spielberg, like his entire foot crushes the skeleton of a T-Rex.
Yeah.
Just to show you that bigger is better. And as we found out after watching the movie, bigger ain't better. But
I was a huge Godzilla fan as a kid.
Huh?
I was a huge Godzilla fan as a kid. I watched all of the Toho movies, and so when that movie was announced, I was all in on that movie. And I watched that movie, and that was one of those moments where you were so excited about a movie, you start to try to talk yourself into that it's not that bad. And the movie ended, and I walked out, and I felt like dirty, like I'd lied to myself.
What was it? By the way, that brings up a good question. What was the most, like a tried and true franchise, what was the most disappointed you felt coming out of a movie, and also trying to convince yourself that you
a lot of them. God. First of all, The Last Skywalker was fucking shit.
Yeah.
The Matrix 2 was fucking shit.
Good.
The Last Jedi was also shit. I can go down the list of shitty sequels I felt so disappointed on. I mean, but those are some of the ones that just jump out. Police Academy 6, shit. No. Because I love Part 4. RoboCop 2 was shit. That was a huge drop. Predator 2, shit.
Oh God!
My wife,
Danny Glover, but no thanks. Yeah.
My wife got me in to see the premiere of Batman v Superman, and like the whole cast was there, and I watched Man of Steel, and I was still actually brainwashed myself into that Man of Steel wasn't that bad, and I
didn't hate it.
It was
terrible.
You know what? It was bad. It was bad, but it was worse because it could have been so much better. They had the budget. They had a great Superman. They had all the time in the world to make it, and they just made a terrible movie. But I went to see Batman v Superman, and I was so excited about this because I was a huge comic book geek, and I love Batman, and I love Superman, and I was like, and I love Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, the comic book. I was like, this is going to be amazing. And that was another movie that every scene I was like, all right, well, it's going to get better. Like, this is definitely, something's going to happen here. It's definitely going to get better. And then there was the scene where Batman goes and saves his wife, or saves Martha.
Oh.
Martha! And I was like, okay, that was a really cool scene. And I literally hung my entire hat on that scene where Batman kicked ass for 7 minutes. And then I walked out. My wife was like, well, what did you, because she was excited. She was like, what did you think? I was like, oh, it was great. Then I went home and I laid in bed awake and couldn't fall asleep because I was like, that was a terrible movie.
What about walking out of?
You saw that one with your wife, which implies that you are getting laid. I remember I saw Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls by myself because I was so excited. Opening day, AMC in Times Square, and exactly to what you're saying. I remember walking out and thinking and trying, it was like Stockholm Syndrome, trying to justify why I didn't hate it. Why I kind of thought it might be sort of good. And I think I had a breakdown at least 4 or 5 blocks outside of the AMC where all of a sudden just I realized that was one of the biggest bags of dicks I have ever seen. And it was just heartbreaking because I worship Indiana Jones, as we all do. And it was just a gut punch.
I saw that with my brother and sister. And I think my wife was with me too. And if you know when I'm having a bad time in the theater, if I go in the middle, go, oh, I did like 3 times. My brother goes, enough. We know it sucks, Kevin. I go, oh. And I go, fucking,
at least you have the
fucking aliens.
mind to know at the time. I was trying to like it as bad as it was getting.
Yeah. Even in Last Skywalker, where she's like, oh, it's the Emperor's granddaughter, I go, nope. And then so my buddy goes, I start shaking, I go, nope. And that was it. All right. Let's do some notes from yours truly. You're going to see a theme here. The very first thing you hear when this film opens up is End of the World by REM. Subtle like a sledgehammer in the nuts.
No shit.
Oh, God. It's good to see Randy Quaid pre-Alex Jones. That was nice to see him. Remember the old days. I also Thank you. I remember the Super Bowl commercial for this very well. Just the teaser of the White House just blowing up. As I was watching the scene of the White House blowing up last night, I said, well, if this actually occurred during the real 1996, at least Bill Clinton would have gone out by getting blown by a tubby intern who would have ended up being a purse designer. Did anyone else last night watch Jeff Goldblum and wait for him to say, life finds a way to make my dad an over-the-top Jewish cliched stereotype? The 90s, I forgot about this too. The 90s were big into anal probe humor, but then again, so was Andy Dick.
True.
Vivica Fox could and can still get it.
Oh, yeah. She was.
Still is.
She was immaculate.
This temporarily put Bill Pullman over Bill Paxton in the Bill Pullman versus Bill Paxton. Who is that guy again? Debate until Bill Paxton died. And I'm ready. And I am ready now to say enough of the one car hitting another domino style car crash. Stop it. That's hack. It's annoying. Done.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Harvey Fierstein pushing gay Jewish stereotypes to neither a high or a new low. I don't know which one.
David.
He sounds like a cookie monster who wants dick instead of delicious treats.
Can't be both.
By the way, nothing like Jewish guilt while driving in an Exodus during an alien invasion. I thought of you, Kevin, when he's going, well, you went to school for this and you didn't get that. I said, I'm sure I hit home for you to some degree. No way in real life does Jeff Goldblum's ex-wife go for him. He outkicked his coverage big time with that press secretary ex-wife of his. Let's talk about the dialogue. Will Smith gets every word out of his mouth, the hackiest, laziest cliches I have ever heard. That must have been one hell of a paycheck to take this script. How could he be happy? Well, you better not be shooting that green shit at me again. Welcome to Earth. Okay, I'll let that slide. Ha 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 ha. That's what I call a close encounter. Oh, vomit. Could have been home barbecuing. I'm gonna whoop E.T.'s ass. What's next? I'm gonna stick Darth Vader's lightsaber up his ass now. Fuck you.
I forgot about that one. Jesus, I just saw it again.
Fuck you and this lazy ass writing. Now, why does every communications commander have to smoke a cigar in every scene. Now, I say that because of Independence Day, and what's the next film we're doing tonight?
Top Gun.
Top Gun. So every communications commander smoking cigars. Now, close your eyes and think of this one, guys. Bill Pullman, Kurt Russell, easily separated at birth. Same jawline, same facial structure, same voice.
No, I think Kurt Russell's jaw is much more dramatic than Bill Pullman.
Oh, I could see Bill Pullman as good old Jack Burton, because you know Jack Burton always I take it back.
Bill Pullman's a little more like average everyman.
Yes.
Kurt Russell is Bill Pullman on steroids.
Love that film.
And like Bill Pullman always does put upon. Like, so like say what was that, Lake Placid? He's put upon by this giant alligator. He's always put upon. Here's one thing that Kurt Russell has never put upon.
Right.
Like Kurt Russell owns every scene he's in and he is in control. Bill Pullman's like, now what's happening to me? And yeah, there's a difference there.
I just watched Escape from New York. And it's, by the way, that movie does not hold up.
I was just going to say.
Not even an iota.
No.
But
you're
that
right.
said, at the end of the movie, I was still like, you know, Snake Plissken's kind of cool.
Did you ever sit through Escape through L.A.?
You know what? I know I've seen it. I don't remember.
It was basically a remake.
It was awful. Oh, it was when they're surfing through with Buscemi.
Oh, that's right. There's the surfing scene.
Terrible. My next question: how the fuck did Will Smith find Vivica Fox like that? Just there she is.
I said the same thing to my wife. In all of LA, she knew exactly where to go.
Yeah, she's got a fucking GPS chip sewn in her puss. Yeah, I'm sure she does. The Bill Pullman 4th of July speech is good. I just don't think it's iconic as everybody makes it out to be. It's good.
Crazy.
Not great. Good. This film drags 2.5 hours. Nope. 2 hours for this and get me in. This film, I looked at my watch at least 4 times. Nope. Explain to me Randy Quaid's kids and the whole the dichotomy of that, please.
I have an answer.
I'm listening.
In the deleted scenes, and this shows you how lonely I am and how empty my weekend was. In the deleted scenes, they explained that Randy Quaid was not their father. Randy Quaid married their mother after she died, and that's why A, they don't look anything like him, and B, they call him by his first name rather than Dad.
Which is
not because they don't like him, it's just because they don't look at him as a father figure. And also, it does kind of explain why they weren't that broken up after he died at the end.
Well, also in the deleted scenes, what you find out is the kid who gets out of the RV and throws up, he's really sick. And there's a whole little backstory about how sick he is and how he needs this certain medicine, and they don't have it and they can't get it. And that's one of the reasons they need to get to this base, because they need to get the kid medicine or he's going to die. And then, but they just, obviously there was enough storylines that they were like, we don't need the dying kid.
Kevin, no, there were not enough. There are not enough.
There are not enough storylines. Or just don't have the kids. Don't have them, period. You know, there's so many characters.
But then who would have said he was proud of his father?
Yeah.
You needed somebody to say I was proud of my dad.
I wrote down Randy Quaid anchor babies ?
Yeah, there you go.
And the line of lines, Kevin Israel, I'm shocked. As Chris Russo said, shocked, Mikey, shocked. You did not bring this up. The one quote I had circled with your fucking name on it. Not Jewish? No one's perfect.
And again, this is Roland Emmerich doing reparations for what his dad did to the Jews.
Pandering, is what I wrote here. Huge pandering. That must have elicited boos in the South and the Midwest and the movie theaters big time. Last and not least, Randy Quaid, the victim of also, if Will Smith is the gold medal winner for shitty cliches, Randy Quaid vomited everything else out that Will Smith did not get on his fucking call sheet and script plate for cliches. Here I come! Every fucking shitty, lazy cliche. So in summary, I get this is a summer blockbuster and is meant to please all of your sensory organs but your brain. But God damn it, this is just insulting with first grade writing, less than open mic quality written jokes, and a piss poor fucking execution. The story itself was great. Great idea. I'm with you.
Great idea.
I'm with you all the way. But all the undeveloped character arcs that Bill had said, the fucking first wife just dies. Okay, great. And the
internal
daughter,
injuries.
right?
She
Oh
died.
wait, by the way, that's a great point. And my wife made this point, and I had never picked up on it. So he's in the hospital room with her, so, the president, and he's talking to her, and they hug or kiss or whatever. And she seems, she's she's sick,
Right.
but she seems pretty all right, stable at least. And then he walks out and he's crying, and it's like, oh shoot. So I looked at my wife, I was like, I think he killed her. I think he put her out of his misery.
Put the pillow
Because there
on
was
her
no
face.
reason she was going to die at that moment.
By the way, also wrote down the little girl, the daughter. Maybe mom was a shitty first lady because she didn't have many tears to shed when dad told her she died. Very many unfulfilled character arcs. Kevin Israel, I give this movie a 4.
Oof. 7. I own this movie.
I don't.
I've owned this movie. I watch it at least once a year, and I consider it incredibly rewatchable. If it's on, I will always stop and watch it, and I consider it very quotable. This checks almost all my boxes. Obviously, the reason it doesn't make it higher than a 7 for me, and I do love this movie, is because it's not a good movie.
I had it on VHS because I got it for $6. I don't own any other copy of it. This does not pass the remote test for me. Now it does not. I don't care if it's on or not. I'll just go, great.
Well, Kev, I think I've told you this before, and I got no explanation for it. But this is another 4th of July movie, and this is another 4th of July movie directed by Roland Emmerich. For some reason, if Independence Day is on, I ain't watching it.
No.
If The Patriot is on, and I know it's awful. I know that's an even bigger bag of dicks. If The Patriot's on, I'm watching it all the way through. I don't.
Kevin Israel, it is our time that we love to commiserate and see if our guest Bill Schulz did in fact gut the sacred cow.
As loath as I am to do it, because I do love this movie, I think he did gut the sacred cow.
I agree. I think Bill Schulz
But that
did.
said, I still love it, and I'll still watch it every year. And now I'll watch it every year and think of Bill Schulz.
I won't watch this for a long, long time, but I agree. Bill Schulz did, in fact, gut the sacred cow. So we're just going to say you can see Bill Schulz every morning on Compound Media, the morning show. You can see me there every month with Bill. But check out Bill and Joanne on the morning show, Compound Media. He is a treat, a doll, an American gem, unlike this film in this humble reviewer's opinion. Kevin Israel, where can we find you?
You could find me begging for Zoom shows and staring at my empty calendar. KevinIsrael.com. You can go to my website, and I don't know why you would. On social media, Kevin Israel, and you can go my album, The Struggle Is Real, everywhere that you get audio stuff.
KevinGoatee.com. Let's try that again. KevinGoatee.com for what? I don't know. Shenanigans, debauchery, shit. Who cares? GuttingTheSacredCow.com. That's where you want to go, and that's where you can see our blog posts, our list of 10. We got a whole bunch of content up there now. Give that a gander.
So much coming.
Yeah, and even more coming. So give that a look. GuttingTheSacredCow.com, and if you're looking to advertise, GuttingTheSacredCow@hotmail.com. Hit us up. We'd love to have you on our podcast to do so. And if you have not yet done so, please follow us on social media at Gutting the Sacred Cow, Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, GTSC Podcast.
And leave a review.
Yeah, we need a review. That's my last point. Leave a review, please. 5-star, 2-sentence review. That's all we need. Can't thank you enough. Kevin Israel, good stuff. Bill Schulz, we love you. We will definitely have you back
awesome
on
job,
again.
Bill.
We can't thank you enough. Again, Bill Schulz, Morning Show, Compound Media. That's it for now. Kevin Goatee, Kevin Israel. We will see you next time. Take care. Bye.